Check 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need. Get over the fear and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with Podcast 62. Today's podcast is going to be fun. I can tell already. And remember, if you want your question asked and answered, send it to support@bsffacademy.com. One more time. Support@bsffacademy.com. Question number 1. Why are the Alex's questions different from Podcast 43 to Podcast 56? In Podcast 56, the questions were more in line with your coaching student scripts, while in Podcast 43, Alex is asking for a ranking of interior and exterior before asking the selling price. That's an outstanding observation. Man, whoever wrote that question and sent that question in, they just have to have like one of those super senses where they observe and listen and like highly in tune to what they're hearing. That's an outstanding question. It's a simple answer because we're evolving constantly. In my personal business, what I do is I do something, I see if it works, I test it. Like, because we get a lot of calls here, so I can test pretty fast. Test it. If I don't like it, I change it. That's all that is. What's cool about it is I'm kind of like experimenting on myself. It's kind of crazy. It's like operations, like Frankenstein stuff, but not that weird. I'm experimenting on my own, spending my money because, we buy a house a day, kind of stuff. And then when I find out what works really, really, really good, then I introduce it to my coaching students. So that's all that is. Great question, though. Question number 2. What do you do when a seller calls you and says that they're planning on selling in a few months, but do not seem to be motivated at the moment and are looking for full market value? Do you spend time finding out about their house and trying to see if they can negotiate a lower price, or are they considered a traditional seller or it should be going through a broker? Well, here's the deal. If someone calls me up and says, I want to sell my house in a few months, that's the beauty of my program, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You can have the peace of mind knowing your house is sold. Not only sold, it's actually going to be sold to someone who can actually afford to buy it. Because like yourself, I sell houses too. And there's nothing more frustrating than seeing a deal break down in escrow because the buyer or the agent representing the buyer didn't tell anybody that they were going to go out and buy new furniture or a new car during the escrow period. And now you're faced with seeing that escrow fall apart. And another beautiful thing about my program is when we agree on a sales price, which is what we want to do, is you can stay in your house as long as you need to, knowing it's sold. And you'll receive your money on the day you decide to move out. What's really beneficial about this, and we've bought a lot of houses from sellers like yourself who are planning on something in the future, and they need to know that their house is sold so they can make those plans. Our program works perfectly for those people. Because I'm an investor and I'm not planning on moving into the home, we actually have that luxury over maybe a traditional real estate buyer. So you can see the advantages of going ahead and selling your house today and agreeing to the price today, and then just having a date in the future. And sometimes it's been up to a year, which is okay for me, as long as values don't decline, then we're pretty safe. But yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to set up a contract, get them signed, close on the day of their choice. Great question, though. Question number 3. How should you handle speaking with the sellers who are constantly trying to take over the conversation? I just tell them to be quiet. I do it like this. Mr. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? Yes. Can we have some rules? Yes. Here's the rules that I would like to have, and if you would agree with me, we can fall for it. I have a series of questions that I want to ask you. When I'm done asking you my questions, I will give you ample opportunity to ask your questions, but it's important for me to make sure I do a thorough job and ask you the questions that I need to ask you. Again, like I said, when I'm done, I'm going to give you as much opportunity to ask questions as you want. However, what I believe will happen is while I'm asking you my questions, some of your questions are going to be answered. So let's go ahead and continue with the next question. Now, if that doesn't work, I raise my voice because I know that the person with the louder voice can control the conversation, get them to hear me, and then I'm going to bring my voice back down. So with a louder voice, I'm going to start talking to them again and going, hey, we got to be fair here. I need to ask you some questions. When I'm done asking the questions, I'm going to give you enough opportunity to ask me the questions. So we just simply need to go ahead and continue on with the questions I have. Thank you very much. So if that didn't work, I'm just going to say, you know what? I've got to let you know. It doesn't appear as though we're a mesh for each other. We're not. It just doesn't appear because I need to ask you these questions. And you're wanting to ask me your questions, which I understand. But that doesn't work. And so maybe there's someone else that you should call and sell your house to. Now, if you want to have me ask my questions and then you have ample time to ask your questions, we can do that, but it doesn't sound that's what you want to accomplish. And so I'm going to ask you to go ahead and invite you to maybe call somebody else or rethink it and call me back. You have a wonderful day, and thank you for calling in the first place. Because guys and gals, it's a power exchange. You cannot give the power away. If you give the power away, you have to ask for it back or they have to give it back to you. And it's not easy to ask for. So if you let them have the power of the conversation, they have the power. You're the student, they're the teacher. You have to remain the teacher at all times. Sometimes you have to be the principal with a louder voice, just like I did in the middle scenario. But you'll always have to stay in control of the conversation. Now, you can let them ask one or two itty-bitty questions that don't really matter about anything. Like, why is the sky blue? I don't care, but, they're going to ask little questions, a silly questions, a question that's important to them. But if they start needling you about question after question after question after question after questions, oh my goodness, we have Mr. Questioner here. Well, I'm going to let them know I need to ask my questions, and if they don't want me to, that's fine. They can go sell their house to somebody else. I have plenty of opportunity. I'm not afraid to lose their opportunity. In my opinion, you can't lose what you don't have. They're not giving me anything to have, so I can't lose it, so I'm not afraid of it.
Thanks for listening to Buy, Sell, Fix, Flip. We'll be right back. Are you running out of leads? It's time you tried Yellow Letters at yellowletters.com. Get motivated seller leads through Yellow Letters, postcards, zip letters, typed professional letters, greeting cards, door hangers, and business cards. Yellow Letters is a full-service marketing company created with your success in mind. Get the personal attention you need to get your direct mail campaign started and get in touch at yellowletters.com.
And we are back in 3, 2, 1.
Question number 4. How do you know when it's time to move your business to a professional office space and hire assistants, callback sellers, look up comps, etc.? Great question. How do I know? Well, it's just I'm type A personality. I get out of the bed and eat rocks and mountains, and I just want to conquer everything. So I know in order to do that, I have to have help. I know I get more done doing less, personally, than if I hire a staff who does extremely great work for me. Here's a secret about hiring staff, folks. Here's what you do. You don't look for superstars. You create superstar systems. So let's keep that between you and me, okay? So you don't hire superstars. You create superstar systems. So you script everything out first. You have your CRM set up first. You have all your touches set up and your email responders set up first. You have your escrow coordination set up first. You have all of your marketing prepared and ready to go first. And then when you're set up and you have systems for every piece of your pie, then you start bringing people in. But the moment you decide that you want to be a rock star, superstar real estate investor, eat and breathe it. Eat less food, send out more mail. Buy a less expensive car, send out more mail. Do something that causes your ordinary income lifestyle to support this massive thing that you're going to own. And then all of a sudden, this massive thing is going to give you so much feedback money that, man, it's going to be cool. It's going to be. absolutely cool when you take yourself from the technician, move yourself into the manager, and ultimately into the entrepreneur. And you're going to know when you're ready. I know when I'm ready when I get out of bed in the morning. I never look at a business that I look at and go, man, I want to be a technician the rest of my life. No. I want to look at how I can systemize my business so I can get myself out of that technician role, out of that manager role, and into the entrepreneurial role. Now, I'm a firm believer that I need to know and have a good grasp on those tasks that I have to ask someone else to do. So I have to spend some time doing an escrow coordination. I have to spend some time answering the phone. I have to spend some time digging the ditch kind of thing. And that's okay. That doesn't mean I have to make a career out of digging ditches. And so it's all about mind frame. You're going to know it based upon who you are. I'm not afraid to fail, but some people are afraid to fail. I'm afraid of not succeeding, which I don't know if that makes sense. So some people are so afraid that they'll fail, they won't start and they won't do. I'm so afraid that I won't have success that I just jump out there and I get it. I tackle success and I grab it like it's a bull and I control it. Man, that's what we have to do in life. Is if you want something, dang it, go get it. Don't wait for it. What do we have? We have 80 years times 365 days. That's all we get. That's all we get. Do something with every one of those days. Be something. Make yourself better and have more tomorrow than you had today and have more the day after tomorrow than you had tomorrow. That's all you got to do. Get out of bed with a conquer attitude and go conquer something. Okay? Little baby steps, but you're going to be running real fast before long. You'll be running in the Olympics before long if you just follow the program. Question number 5. Can you talk about what you do in your coaching program? What makes your program different from other programs out there? Do you actually have one-on-one coaching, or is everything video and a few group calls? I hate that question. I don't hate the question because it's a question, and I think it's an absolutely great question. I hate the question because I really don't want these podcasts to be about me trying to sell you something. I want these podcasts to be about you guys. I can tell you things about my coaching program, but that's going to take away from what I want to give you guys. So if you want to know what my coaching program's about, go to my Coaching Academy site and fill out the form, contact me, let's set a time, I'll talk to you. Man, it's highly different than what you think anything out there is. I don't know if I said that right, but it's different. So I'm going to fill in question number 5. I'm going to make my own question number 5 because I was talking to a coaching student just before this podcast. And I'm going to paraphrase a question that we had. And this coaching student, guys, I hope she's listening. I just think she's just friggin' awesome. She's like, she's not my angel. She's somebody's angel, but that's how she comes across. She just comes across so just great. But she's having a problem being a real estate investor before she's a real estate investor, which makes kind of sense. It's kind of like, well, how do you tell people you're an investor, but you haven't really bought a house yet? Well, here's how you do it. You say, hi, my name's Michael Quarles with I Buy Houses. I buy houses from people that are going through divorce, people that maybe are handling a probate or inherited issue. I buy houses from tired landlords who have vacancies or tenants that are just uncooperative. Bought houses from people that are being transferred for all kinds of different reasons. I've bought pretty houses and I've bought some ugly, ugly, ugly houses. One of the nice things, though, about my program is I pay cash for the houses we buy. The sellers and I always agree to the sales price, so they always get top dollar. And they get the money on the day of their choice. And it's kind of a cool thing. And so, I enjoy being a real estate investor. I know this year I'll probably help close to 1,000 people who have homes. I think that's a neat thing. The first day that I was a real estate investor, I could say that same thing because that's what my intention is. My intention is success and great stuff and to help people. My intention is to be morally correct and ethically correct and legally correct. My intention is to help folks who need to sell their house. I don't mind pretending if I don't know yet, because I'm going to learn it. I'm going to learn it really fast. There's things that I don't know about real estate investing. There's a lot of things I don't know about real estate investing. There's a lot of things I do know. But if someone asks me a question after I tell them I'm a real estate investor and they say, well, what do you think about this or what do you think about that? And it's not the type of real estate investing I do. I'm going to say that's a great question. After we agree on a price tonight and sign our agreement, I'm going to go back to my office. I'm going to do some research. I've got some friends of mine that actually do that kind of investing, and I'll be able to answer that question and call you back. The important part is that we just simply agree to a price so you can consider your house sold. And again, not only sold, but it's sold to somebody that can afford to buy it and close it on the day of your choice. That's what you want, right? So don't get caught up in just because you've never done it, that you can't do it. I don't know if anybody knows who Roger Bannister is, but he's the guy that ran the first 4-minute mile. The first person who ran the first 4-minute mile. No one in recorded history who had been recorded or timed had run a sub 4 or 4-minute mile. A lot of people tried. No one had done it. Did Roger think, well, I can't be a 4-minute mile runner before he ran it? No, he had a goal. Here's what was unique about Roger, though, the next year. Like 23 people the next year ran a sub 4-minute mile. Now, how is it that Roger, through all of the history of recorded time, was the first, but the next year, 23 people were able to do the same thing? Well, it's an easy answer. They just believed. Roger proved it. They believed it. They probably ate what Roger ate, worked out like Roger worked out, but here's what they knew. They knew they could do it because somebody else is doing it, has done it. So to my coaching student who's just, she is such an endearing person. Just know you can do it because it's been done by a lot of people. And it's being done every day. Just know, be an investor and know that you can be an investor and know that you can be a successful investor because others are doing it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate having the opportunity to do this stuff. I know I say it probably too much, but it fills my soul up, and I appreciate you guys letting me do that for myself. Again, if you guys have any questions, just send them to support@bsffacademy.com. For the person who asked the question about my coaching program, how's it different from somebody else's? There's a lot of good coaching programs out there. I'm not going to take anything away from any of them. I do offer some unique things and some talent and some things that maybe are different than others. And if you want to know, just give us a call. We'll set some time. I'll chat with you. I'll spend as much time as I need to so you can make the right decision for yourself. Until next time, guys, have fun. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.